As the recording is in progress, hi everyone, welcome online, Happy New Year. It's an ad hoc webinar that we decided to do together with AgileLAB in order to share information about some underrated and not really well-known tool mentioned in ITIL 4. Where the idea came from? AgileLAB now preparing to add ITIL 4 related trainings to their portfolio, and I, Antonina Duana-Sklintsova, I helped them to do that, and I will also lead a couple of first trainings for ITIL Foundation and IT and digital strategy. And when we had this discussion, we faced, even inside of our team, that there are so many people who still believe that ITIL 4 brings recommendations mainly about IT services, support incidents, how to solve problems, how to create configuration management databases, which is absolutely true. And of course, ITIL 4 provides that type of recommendation. However, there is so much more than just that. And so this ad hoc spontaneous webinar was made with the purpose of maybe to surprise you, those who know ITIL 4 quite well, and maybe to extend your knowledge for those who just touch on ITIL 4 for the first time. I will talk today about human intelligence, and actually the part of that, which is emotional intelligence and communication intelligence. Nowadays, it's a fashion, it's hype, it's our today. We talk about artificial intelligence in many projects, many organizations want it, and they search for any opportunities to use AI tools in whatever projects they run, which is amazing. I'm personally a big fan of AI as well. However, my strong belief is that we must still remember about HI, human intelligence, first of all, in order to use AI in the best way. I'll give you 4 situations that I faced myself together with my customers, and maybe you will recognize yourself. And then I'll share with you the tool I'm mentioning, the one out of human intelligence portfolio that might help us with those situations. Okay, the situation number 1. Imagine yourself a big retail company who provides their goods and services all over the world, in market in Asia, in the US, in Europe. So they're quite huge guys. And they decided to optimize and then automate their HR processes. So for that purpose, they invited external provider, they bought application, and they also involved the internal teams to develop a couple of modules including AI tools, right? So to process the data and help their HR departments work more efficiently. Well, the job was done, the tool was implemented, and then after a couple of months, we started noticing that end users, they are not so eager of using the new tool. They still use the old spreadsheets, they still communicate outside of the predefined chats, so they still use their personal chats. So kind of investments, they were not for nothing, but the result was not what we expected. Well, I guess you might recall a couple of situations in your own professional life when these sort of things happen, right? Situation number 2. Account manager spends entire months preparing the offer for the customer, consulting the developers, consulting the service manager, product manager. So offer is ready, and it's an amazing one. It's the best one the customer can get. And they go to the meeting, and account manager start presenting that. He presents it with all his energy and charisma, and he brings exactly what customers were asking for. But by the end of the meeting, customer representative, they stand up and say, no, it's not what we want, and they leave. Well, big surprise. We kind of were referring to their requirements before, but something went wrong. We listened them. We missed opportunity to understand them. Well, happens as well. Situation number 4. You as a manager of a big team invite external consultant well-known professional to share his or her knowledge about how to improve your processes within the team. Consultant come, start sharing, and you as a manager, instead of listening to what other proposals are, start criticizing, like saying, you know, this guy, he looks not really stylish. Or, you know, it's kind of, I feel not comfortable with that person, so maybe he's not as professional. Maybe we should not listen to him or her. Can happen as well, right? And the last situation, when you visit some interviews or important meetings and people ask you a question, you listen, you answer, then you come back home and you have this feeling, what the hell I was doing? Why didn't I say this or that? I knew that. It would be so much more, it would be beneficial for everyone to know that information. Why couldn't I bring it up when the meeting was on? Well, if you recognize yourself in some of the situation, great. If no, let's proceed, and maybe you will still find how the tool can be used for you. I'll get back to the situation, explaining how communication can help. There is this technique called 3-level of listening. It's mentioned in ITIL for drive stakeholders value. It's common in other frameworks as well. For example, CTI Coactive Coaching devotes quite some time learning that tool. And I personally believe that before we start implementing any practices, processes, or before we start getting requirements from our customers, we have to understand which level listening we need to use. What am I talking about? Let me share the screen with you. According to this theory, there are 3 levels of listening. And if we want to be skillful in our communications, we need to be able to consciously choose which level we would like to use at the moment. Level number 1, it's when we stay on this level of listening, it means all the focus is inward. We think about ourselves. We think about our own agenda, our own feelings. For example, now when you're listening to me, you might have remembered that you forgot to cook your dinner, or maybe you were still thinking about what happened during the day. It means you were on the level 1 of listening or internal listening. You can find, a simple example. For example, someone comes to you and say to me, Antonina, I've seen a nice cafe close by. Would you like to have a coffee with me? If I'm on the level 1 listening, most probably my answer will be something like, coffee, yeah, I've tried some good coffee recently. Maybe I had coffee before, so I don't know. And the cafes around are not so good. So I'm kind of not answering the question which have been asked to me. I'm on a level 1 listening. Do you recognize that? I think it happens quite often in a real life. Where it's beneficial to use this particular level of listening? Well, first of all, when you're in the theater or cinema, when you want to process information through your own experience, when you want to think, what does it remind me? How do I feel when I hear that? It's also beneficial to use this level when you're on a trainings, because you immediately start matching what you hear now, for example, from me, to your own experience. Where can I apply that, right? How it will help me. That's how we learn. That's the best situation for using this level. But if we go to the level number 2, or we also can call it focused listening, it's all focus comes in this case for the content, for the subject. What other people tell me? So we already think about what has been said. In my example of, hey, Antonina, there is a nice cafe around. Would you like to have a coffee with me? Well, the answer from level 2 will be either yes, sure, let's go, or no, sorry, I don't have time for that. So I get information, I process that, and I base my actions and answer on what I've heard before, right? So I don't really care what's happening inside of me now. I'm objectively answer the information I've just processed. That's one of the most common level of listening that you will spot in offices. hopefully, because if people go too often to a level 1, then we are lost in communication. We usually know somebody comes to you and say, do you know how to fill this file or this table? And instead of saying yes or no, answering from a second level, if you go to a level 1, it will be, oh, before filling this table, you need to develop the procedures, how you fill it up, and you need to send your employees to the training. And in general, this right? So that's level 1. Level 2 is, yes, I know how to fill that. No, I don't know. Or what exactly do you want me to help you with? Or where is the table? So you try to get more information about the context, about the subject. If we go to a level 3 of the listening, it means we focus on the subject itself, we focus on the speaker, and we also focus on environment around us and the speaker. So we don't only listen with our ears, we listen with our eyes and with our whole body. In an example with the coffee, I would observe how person asks me, like, hey, Antonina, would you like to have a cup of coffee with me? And if I notice that person is a little bit more sad than usual, I might ask or say, of course, I would love to have coffee with you. Is something happened? You look sad. And person might answer, yeah, it's actually not about coffee. I just want to talk to you. I have problems at work. So from the level 3 listening, you understand much more than just words. It's one of the most energy consuming level of listening because it requires your 100% presence and analytical skills as well. It's not doable to stay on this level all the time, but where we benefit most from using this level of listening? Well, first of all, when we work with our customer requirements. Remember my example from situation number 1, when the retail company was implementing the application. Well, I believe the people who were involved in that situation, they failed on listening carefully from level 3, the customers. They might have even taken from level 2 exactly what was requested, but as we all know, customers sometimes don't know. I mean, they know, they feel what they need, but they cannot formulate it in words, and that's how we need to help them. In situation number 3, when the manager started criticizing the professional who was invited to help, it was vice versa. The manager went way beyond from the level 3, trying to understand, how the style impacts for the situation, or the color that consultant uses as a font, how it will help to improve processes. It's overthinking. Level 3 is not required in that particular case. Level 2 would serve better, or even level 1, because when consultant shares something and makes an offer of the solution, we need to sense, will it work for us? How it will help our situation? So we have to go to a level 1. And if you take situation number 3, interview, why do we not always, but usually can fail find a right answer in a right moment of a time? Because we are way too focused on ourselves. We are on a level 1. We think, if I answer this way, what they will think about me? And we become nervous. We let our emotions go and lead us, instead of staying on a level 3, or maybe at least level 2, and listen carefully what has been asked. Well, that's a theory I wanted to share with you. And as you see, it's a little bit outside of solving incidents or creating configuration management databases, which is also very, very important. However, the communication skills, relationship management, strategy design, it's all presented in ITIL 4, and you might find those specific courses dedicated to that. And my invitation is not only preparing for the exams, but also reading deeper, because you might find these hidden but very important tools. If talking about 3 levels of listening, it was proven already that not customers, but companies who use techniques of active listening from different levels, their productivity goes all the way up to 25%. because, well, they save time on processing requirements, they save time on communication, they make less mistakes, and so on and so forth. So I guess you can find quite a few benefits of this tool yourself. Few more words about the trainings that I mentioned in the beginning. Those that AgileLAB plan to add to their portfolio, and maybe it will be now when recording is in process again, I will share with you PeopleCert website. You're welcome to browse there yourself and to explore it more. However, I just want to show you two courses that will be presented in AgileLAB portfolio already in next couple of months. Give me a second, please. So if we talk about ITIL 4 certification journey, of course, it's better to start from foundation if you've never been in touch there with this framework. And ITIL Foundation course, which will be launched by AgileLAB, will be a little bit different from a classical one. Of course, it will cover all required topics, those that you will need to know in order to pass successfully your exam. However, the format will be a bit different. It will be shorter, it will be quicker. So by the end of the course, you'll be able to identify what are the topics presented in ITIL 4 and which of those topics will be most useful in your particular case, in your organization. And the second course that we're going to present, it will be the digital and IT strategy. This course is on the road to ITIL strategic leader. So we'll talk a lot about how to design a strategy, the one that will support business strategy in the best way, how to understand what is the purpose of IT company or IT department, IT organization in general. But we'll talk about which values organization has, how to define strategy, how to implement it, how to communicate it, how to execute it, and all other steps. So we'll go through the whole life cycle. So I hope to see you on those courses. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to contact AgileLAB or text me, Anthony and the one asking. So you can find me in LinkedIn. Do you have any questions or comments at this moment? I see we have few participants. Not at the moment. Well, then I will be more than happy to answer any of your questions offline. Thank you very much for joining today. Hope you will practice levels of listening, and you will be conscious in choosing the way you listen to others at work or outside of your work, and observe the results. Maybe something will change. Thank you very much, and goodbye.